Okay, in this video we're going to go over the 5.1 notes. So here's your first page, and it says we're going to do some vocab also. Now notice I am giving you the page numbers so that you can go and look in the textbook as well. Remember, you have the hardback book in class, and then you have access on the internet at home if you'd like to have it. So let's start. It says midsegment of a triangle. A segment, so you're going to write segment right here. So this is segment that connects the, and this is going to be midpoints, of two sides of the triangle. Okay, so let's see what that is. So here's a midpoint at M. Here's a midpoint at P. Okay, so if we have those two midpoints, then that means that this segment, MP, is a mid-segment. So MP is the mid-segment. Okay, so think about that for a little bit and make sure you understand that that's what we're doing. So can you find another mid-segment? How about if I tell you that N is a midpoint? If N's a midpoint of the segment AC, then MN connects two midpoints, so that's a mid-segment, and PN is also a mid-segment. Okay, so it says every triangle has three mid-segments. Okay, so let's talk about this for a second. Because if I have midpoints by their very nature divide segments, so here's a segment, in exactly equal parts. Okay, so I'm going to change the color again. And BC has a midpoint in the middle, and that midpoint is P. So that means these two pieces are equal. And let's see what else we can discover. If N's a midpoint, then that means these pieces are equal. Okay, so we have a lot going on when we get these mid-segments done. So let's go on to the second theorem here. Okay, this says the segment connecting the midpoints, so this word should be midpoints. I'm going to draw it up a little bit. Of two sides of a triangle is parallel. So this is another piece of the puzzle. Parallel to the third side and is half as long as the third side. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do, well, maybe we'll do this. Let's work with MN and know that this is an N right here. Okay, so if you know, for example, that MN is a mid-segment, then we know that mid-segment MN is parallel to segment BC. Okay, these two are parallel. So they tell us that in this first line. What about the second line? If I know that this whole part of the triangle is 10, then this mid-segment theorem tells me that this little piece is going to be 5. Okay, we're going to explore that more on the next page. So let me just pull in another picture. So here's the picture I want to look at. So we've already filled in midpoints here, and we filled in parallel here, and we filled in half here. But now we can see the whole picture. So once again, the red points here, here, and here are midpoints. Okay? So the mid-segments are parallel to the part of the triangle directly below it. So this mid-segment right here is parallel to this segment, and it's also half the length. Okay, so let me go back again. We'll do another one. Okay, so I'm going to change my color, and this is a mid-segment right here. This mid-segment is parallel to this segment of the triangle, and it's also, besides being parallel, this piece right here is half the length of this piece. Okay, and there's one more we can do. This is a mid-segment right here. It's parallel to this part of the triangle, so it's parallel, and this is half the length of this. Okay, so we have some note-taking, some visuals, so we're going to get rid of that again, and let's complete the following statement. So MP, so where's MP? MP is right here, is parallel to AC, there it is, and half the length of AC. Okay, so this was all the green. Let's see if we can fill in the rest of it. So I think I'm going to erase this. So let's erase this so that we have a clean figure to work with. And what this is saying to us is NP, so where's NP? Right here, that's a mid-segment, is parallel to, okay, where do you think it's parallel to? Okay, you should be saying AB. So it's parallel to AB, and it's also half the length of AB. So, for example, if you knew that this was 12, then you would know automatically that that is 6. Okay? And then we have one last one to do. So see if you can do it ahead while I erase, and then you can compare your answer with my answer. Okay, so MN, where's MN? MN is right here. What is that parallel to? And you should be saying BC. So it's parallel to BC and half the length of BC. So if I told you this was 20, then you should say that is 10. All right, the next page we're going to look at the first example. Let me just pull this in. Okay, so there we have it. So, example 1. Triangles are used for strength in roof trusses. Okay, that's good to know. In this diagram, UV and VW are mid-segments of triangle RST. So let's see where triangle RST is. Here is RS. Whoops, I didn't want to do that. I just want to draw it. RST. There's the triangle. And they're telling us that this UV right here is a mid-segment. So they want us to find UV and to also find RS. Okay, so if UV and VW is here, are both mid-segments, then let's figure out what we can find. RT, so we're going to do this one, so maybe what I'll do is I'll do this one in orange. So if this is the mid-segment, and it's parallel to RT, and it's also half of the length. So therefore, UV will measure 90 divided by 2, 45. So I got, and it's inches. So I did 90 divided by 2. Okay, so let's change color. Now we're talking about VW. So if VW is a mid-segment right here, then the part of the triangle it's parallel to is SR. If they tell me that VW is 57, then SR has to be twice it, because VW is the mid segment. So SR will equal 2 times VW, which was 57. So that's going to be 114, and again, we are in inches. Okay, so that's what's going on with example 1. Okay, now look at example 2. So I'm going to do a brighter color so that you can see it against this kaleidoscope. In the kaleidoscope image, AE is congruent to BE. So let's see. AE is right here. That is congruent to BE. So what they just told you was that E must be a midpoint. All right, if those two segments, AE and BE, are congruent, then E must be the midpoint. They also tell you that AD, right here, and CD are congruent, so that makes D a midpoint. Okay, so do you see that little segment DE? That's a mid-segment. It is parallel to CB. All right, and that's all we know at this point. So which lines are parallel? So DE is parallel to CB. What else do we know? So I know that DE equals 1/2 CB. I also know that DE is a mid-segment. Okay, mid-segments connect midpoints. Okay, so that's what I know about those lines that were identified. Okay, let's go on to the next example. All right, now look at this extra practice problem. So it says, in the diagram of an A-frame house, okay, so that looks like a little bit of a confusing diagram. So DG, so I'm seeing DG, I'm just going to change my highlight here. This is DG right here. DG and DH. So here's a DH right here. So the pink highlight are mid-segments of triangle ABF, and I have made ABF in yellow highlight. Okay, so if those are mid-segments, then let's see what else we can do. It says find DG, so DG, and find also BF. Okay, so let's work on DG first. Here is DG right here. And what I'm seeing is it is parallel to AF, which is the bottom of that triangle. So they give me a measurement of 12 feet for AF. Because DE is a mid-segment, it must be half of that. So right now I know that DG equals 12 divided by 2, which is 6 feet. And what I did was I said 12 divided by 2 to get that. All right, next one. DH. So this is DH right here, and it measures 10 feet. DH is a mid-segment, and it is parallel to BF. Okay, so BF is that part of the triangle that is parallel to DH. Since DH is a mid-segment, it's going to be twice the length of the part of the triangle it is parallel to. If DH is 10, so we know that, so therefore, 3 little dots mean therefore, BF equals 20, because that is 2 times 10. okay, and it's 20 feet. Since I'm giving you units, give me back the units. All right, let's go to the next practice problem. All right, so in this picture it says in the diagram RS equals TS. So I'm going to put a hash mark here and here to indicate that RS and TS are equal. That means that S is a midpoint. They also go on to tell us that RW, right here, and WV, or VW, are equal. If that's the case, then W must be a midpoint. So, if that is true, then this line, SW, must be a mid-segment because it connects two midpoints. So, can we find the bottom of the triangle? So, it looks like, I'm just going to change my highlight color. It looks like the triangle in question has to be this little blue one right here. Okay, that little blue one is the triangle we're talking about. So, if you were going to show what lines are parallel, I would pick that R, or that SW, so I'm going to change the marker. So SW is going to be parallel to TV. And these are line segments. What else do you know about these lines? Well, what do I know? I know that SW is a mid-segment because it connects two midpoints. I know that SW equals 1/2 of the length of TV. Okay, so that's what I know. And I know that they're parallel. So I know three things. I know they're parallel. I know that SW is a mid-segment. And I know that SW is going to be half the length of TV. Since they have not given me any values, I can't put specific values on here. All right, so now we've gone through all the notes and 4 practice problems. Let's tackle some of the homework. All right, so in the 5-1 homework section, it says in each triangle, M, N, and P are midpoints of the sides. Name a segment parallel to one given. Okay, so if M, N, and P are mid-segments, or midpoints, then MN, NP, and MP are mid-segments. So they want us to name a segment parallel to NP in the first case. So here's NP. That has to be parallel to, what do you think? I think HG. Okay, so those are parallel. So this is going to be HG, and then put the line segment symbol above it. Okay, let me turn back to the highlighter, because that may work better. Okay, so look at the next one. I still know that M, N, and P are midpoints. Therefore, these are mid-segments in blue. So what's parallel to JI? Well, where is JI? JI is here. I'm looking for a mid-segment parallel to it, so it has to be MP. So MP is parallel to JI. Okay, so the next one is hard to see, but they're asking for something that's parallel to TU. So let me write that a little darker. So they want to know that TU, I believe, let me just check this since I can't really see it. Yes, TU is parallel to what? So where is TU? And we've already practiced saying that M, P, and M are midpoints, and therefore PN, PM, and MP are your mid-segments. So look where TU is. Here's TU. It is parallel to PN. So that, let me just erase this so we can see it. Yes, that's PN. So TU is parallel to PN. And then because we're talking segments, I'm going to write that above. Okay, same drill. Here's our mid-segments. And NP, where's NP? Oh, right here. That's going to be parallel to ED. So ED, with a little segment mark above, is parallel to NP. Those are the first four. I hope you understand that, and we'll go on to the next ones. Okay, let's look at the marking in number 5. We are being asked to find the missing length indicated. So we need to find PQ. But what I'm seeing, if I make this a little bit bigger, I am seeing that P must be a midpoint, because how come? Because it is the middle, whoops, right here is P, it's the middle of ED since it divides ED in half. Q must be another midpoint, all right, because it divides CD in 2 equal pieces. So if I know that EC is 20, then PQ has to be half of that, so that's going to equal 10. All right, let's look at the next one. Here is a midpoint because of the 2 equal segments down here. Here is a midpoint because of these 2 equal segments. And so they want to find FH, which is here. What is parallel to FH? It looks like AB is. And if AB is 7, then FH has to be twice that, which is going to be 14. Okay, so that's the first 6 problems. Let's go on and we'll grab another problem page. So I think we're up to here. Here's 7. So now they want us to find JK. So where is JK? JK is right here. And once again, I see J and K are midpoints. Therefore, JK is a mid-segment that is parallel to GI and half its length. So if GI is 18, JK must be 9. Okay, that equals 9. Okay, how about ST? So here is ST. Once again, that's a mid-segment because these were cut in half and so were these. So therefore, T and S are midpoints, and that makes ST a mid-segment. So if A, whatever this other letter is, I guess it is A, let me look, AC, if AC is 14, then ST must be half of that, so that's going to equal 7. Okay, so on the next page we'll do 9 and 10. Okay, so look at problem 9. Now these are getting a little bit more advanced. What I'm noticing is that P is a midpoint, Q is a midpoint, and that makes PQ a mid-segment. The line, or the segment parallel to it, is IG. So, see if you can get yourself an equation. So what I know is that PQ, so this is what I know, PQ equals 2 times IG. Okay, so if PQ equals X plus 16, then that must be 2 times X plus 24. Okay, so do that math. This is 2X plus 48. So X plus 16 equals 2X plus 48. So I have to scoot this over a little tiny bit. And what can I do? So let me see. Did I do that correct? No, I lost my head. Do you see a mistake? I do. So I'm going to back up a little bit, and I'm going to redo that and also give myself some more room. So see if you can figure out what I just did. Is it true that PQ equals 2 times IG? No. What is true is that 2 times PQ, okay, so 2 times PQ equals IG. So 2 times x plus 16 equals x plus 24. That's the bigger piece. So 2x plus 32 equals x plus 24. Okay, we're going to come up here. So I had 2x plus 32 equals x plus 24. Subtract x, subtract x. I now have x plus 32 equals 24. Okay, subtract 32, subtract 32, and I have x equals -8. And that's what they were looking for, x. So let's see if this works. So if I plug in a -8 right here, what do I get for PQ? Well, -8 plus 16 is +8. Now, if IG is double that, I want that to be 16. If I plug in a -8 here plus 24, I do indeed get 16, so that all checks. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this writing, and we'll write for question 10 instead. So let me get rid of all of this. Okay, much better. Okay, so look at question 10. Same idea. What I'm seeing is that WV is a mid-segment right here, and PR is the part of the triangle that's parallel to it. So therefore, 2 times WV, which is 2 times 2x minus 11, has to equal x minus 1. Okay, now, you're going to run into problems if you don't distribute when you multiply. So this is 4x minus 22 equals x minus 1. Okay, so what are we going to do? I guess maybe we'll move the x's first. So -x, that gives me 3x minus 22 equals -1. Add 22, add 22, and you end up getting 3x equals 21. Divide by 3, and I have x equals 7. So again, we're going to try to figure this out. I know that WV has to be half of PR, so let's plug in. If I plug in a 7 in the 2x, that makes it 14 minus 11 gives me what? 3, right? So this is going to be 3 if I plug in 7 for x. Now let's look at PR. If I plug in 7, 7 minus 1 is 6, and that is great because WV is exactly half of PR, and I am all set. Okay, let's move on to 11, and you may have to go back and think about all of this. So 11, HI has to be a mid-segment because I see that these hash marks indicate that H was a midpoint, and these hash marks indicate that I was a midpoint. Okay, so let's get rid of some of those extra markings. Okay, HI is parallel to MK. 2 times HI equals 1 times MK. So 2 times 2x plus 26 equals 2x plus 28. Okay, so do this math again. You need to distribute, and this is a very careful operation. 4x plus 52 equals 2x plus 28. Okay, subtract 2x, subtract 2x. I have 2x plus 52 equals 28. Okay, so I need to move the 52 over. So what am I going to do? I'll let you think about that for a second. So if I subtract 52, subtract 52, I get 2x equals negative 24. Divide by 2, divide by 2, x equals negative 12. Okay, so I'm going to leave it to you to plug in and make sure that works. And while you're doing that, I'm going to get rid of all this extra writing so that we can do question. Whoops, let me just do that again. We want to do question number 12. Okay, so look at 12. It looks to me like FG is the mid-segment, and without explaining it again, you should be able to tell me why. And XV is the line, the part of the triangle that is parallel to FG. Therefore, 2 times x plus 19 has to equal x plus 29. So 2x plus 38, because 2 times 19 is 38, equals x plus 29 minus x, that's an x, not a 2, x plus 38 equals 29 minus 38 minus 38, x is going to equal minus 9. Okay, so we're going to plug this one in together. If x is minus 9 here, minus 9 plus 29 gives me positive 20. Plugging in a minus 9 here, minus 9 plus 19 gives me 10, and I have found that FG is 2 times FG gives me XV. So that is all the homework, all the practice, and all the notes for 5-1. Go back and make sure that you understand this, because this is important and we have a lot of math going on here.